Hello there, my lovelies. My name is Boomy and you're watching my channel, Boomy Reactions. Now today, guys, let's talk everything zombie apocalypse. I did not think I would be saying that when I woke up this morning. Yeah, so today's video is all about the US government's contingency plan in the event of a zombie apocalypse. Now, today's video has been requested through Buy Me a Coffee from Seaofwhiskey. Once again, thank you, my lovely. Thank you for your support. Now, Seaofwhiskey says, "Hi, Boomy. Did you know the US government has a contingency plan in place to deal with a zombie infestation? Enjoy." Huh? No, I did not know that. I bet we don't. Our government's boring and, and lacks imagination. I bet we don't have anything in place, or it'll be a boring one, just like, generic kind of viral outbreak, something like that. Not specific enough to be a zombie apocalypse. Now, this is one of my favorite icebreakers, this question. When you're getting to know someone and it's a good topic of conversation, pub talk over a pint. What would you do in the event of a zombie apocalypse? And everyone always comes at it from different angles, and everyone's got a different opinion. So me being me, I approach this this conversation from a medical perspective or a cook. So I think I would be most helpful in this scenario as someone who is stupidly over prepared with medicines and medical equipment in the car, in the kitchen cupboard. Yeah, that's me. So that is my usefulness here. And of course, I like cooking. So I'd like to think I'm resourceful enough, making tasty little meals out of dried goods and canned canned foods. That's where I shine. I'm not a hunter. I am not in any way capable of really defending myself against zombies or people, but that's where I shine. So there's so many things to think about when it comes to here. So my normal kind of zombie apocalypse contingency plan, I instantly think you need to get out of the city. Get out of there. It's going to be overrun. It's like the most dangerous place for a viral outbreak, isn't it? You want to go to the quiet countryside. Ideally near a fresh water source. At first, I did used to say, you need to get to a boat. Because, naturally, zombies can't swim. I don't know why they wouldn't be able to swim, by the way. If they can swim when they're fully aware and conscious as people, why would they not be able to swim? But all of the films suggest, don't they, guys? Walking Dead, 28 Days Later, all suggest zombies cannot swim. For whatever reason. They don't have the motor skills. So I used to say, no, go and get a boat on the river. No, now I'm saying, actually, no, I've changed my plan. I would go to the countryside. Keep away from people. So once zombies stop being your immediate threat, it's an awful thing to say, but people then become the next threat, don't they? Yeah, it's quite depressing, actually. Take medical supplies and dried foods. Yep, that's where I shine, guys. Oh, and a weapon. I don't know about this one because I'm useless. I wouldn't be able to defend myself. And we don't really have guns over here. So not too sure where I would stand in that one. I think I would take a kitchen knife. I've got lots of those. Kitchen knife, big chef's knife, and a crowbar. We've got a crowbar in the garage. I'll be fine. Anyway, let's get on with the video and let's see what these fellas say about the US's contingency plan in the event of a zombie outbreak. So crazy. And guys, if you're enjoying these reactions, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel. Thank you so much in advance, guys. If you're interested, I have a Buy Me a Coffee account, and that link is over here.
You wake up one day and groggily rub the sleep out of your eyes. After a few moments, you're alert enough to reach for your phone. Time to catch up on all the messages and Instagram likes and Facebook posts you missed during your sleep. Except your phone's not working. You have no service, and that should be impossible because you recently ditched T-Mobile. Shrugging, you reach for your laptop.
T-Mobile. There's loads here in the UK. There's 3. T-Mobile. Virgin.
and flip it open,
If I anything that
double-clicking on Firefox because Safari and Chrome are trash browsers. Oddly, Firefox refuses to load. You check your laptop's connectivity and sure enough, no service again. Weird, you think to yourself as you throw on some pants and check on your desktop.
But why would that happen immediately? Early days in the outbreak. I would have thought this one kind of happened within like, I don't know, like a few days. Why would this be the first thing you would notice? I think in a zombie apocalypse, you would hear rumors of things. There would be a little bit of civil unrest because people would be talking and there'd be articles all over the internet and whatever, and no one would really be knowing what to make of it. That would be the first sign. So why would this happen so early on?
Which also has no internet connection. Now, edging to a full-blown first world panic, you head downstairs to make sure mom paid the internet bill. You find her there in the kitchen aimlessly mixing something. You can't quite tell what it is because she has her back turned to you, but you think you hear her slightly groaning. Hesitantly, you call out to your mother, whose body suddenly jerks as she turns around slowly, moving very, very stiffly. As she turns to face you, you're horrified to see her dead eyes staring at you, and with a growl of brains.
Now, if this would happen, why would one member of your house be infected all of a sudden overnight, and then everyone else is totally fine, but it's just one member of your house? I think it depends what zombie we're dealing with. Let's address it, guys, because you know there's a whole spectrum of zombie out there in Hollywood. I know I'm referencing films and TV series now, but you've got the slow kind of undead kind of zombies that like here, just kind of like, oh, brains. They don't move fast. It's quite easy to outwit, to be fair. But then you've got this other significantly scarier breed of zombie that kind of turns up in films like 28 Days Later or I Am Legend, you know. And these guys sprint at you. They're significantly scarier because they're not the slow kind of geriatric looking zombies. Have like body parts rotting off, or maybe down, years down the line, like The Walking Dead, maybe they would be more like that. But these zombies are scarier because they're angry. They're angry elves. Yeah, they're the scarier zombies, definitely. So I think if they were more viral and if they were a bit more aggressive in that kind of sense, you'd start hearing of outbreaks like in hospitals would become overrun, and then that's how you'd get the rumors of zombies, people leaking stories and things that have happened online.
She leaps for you. You make a run for it, rushing outside and fleeing for your life.
Probably
but the
Mom.
neighbors spot you and take off running after you too. In seconds, you're being chased by a mob of zombified relatives and neighbors, and they're almost upon you when you turn the corner and suddenly hear, "Get down!" Instinctively, you duck down, and in front of you, a military patrol in Humvees opens up 50 caliber machine guns, chewing the zombies to pieces. Overhead, you hear the roar of jets as 500-pound bombs are being dropped all over your former suburban neighborhood.
This would happen a little bit later on. I think there'd be more of a focus of containing the contagion, right? So, well, there's so many variables. How quickly does this virus spread from one person to another? Is it like instantaneous? Like, do you know that they're infected within minutes of becoming infected? Is it carried through the saliva? Is it just a zombie bite, or is it through blood, or is it airborne? Who knows? At this point, there's so many different variables, guys. But I would have thought early days, when people are starting to realize that there is a situation developing, I think it would be more central. Like, it would take place within hospitals first, and then there would be a struggle to contain the infected, and then it would kind of erupt from the hospitals. I mean, Let me know if you think otherwise, guys. I'd love to hear all your opinions on this. I find it very, very interesting. This is proper pub conversation, this, isn't it? Let's sit around the pub table, have a few pints, and we'll all talk about what we think of the zombie apocalypse. Conversational gold. But I would think that it would start erupting out of hospitals before you've got your average person like mum, bless her, she was only trying to make everyone pancakes before she realized that she was infected. But how did mum get infected? It must have come from someone who would have been acting aggressively or weird, who would have had to bite her in the first place. So who would that have been? That's why I'm saying I think this is more likely to have been contained or attempted to contain it from hospitals before the military, got involved, maybe.
Welcome to the zombie apocalypse. The previous scenario has been a staple of science fiction for decades, and stories of zombie apocalypses have thrilled and terrified generations of humanity.
Yes?
Yet for the United States military, the zombie apocalypse is no laughing matter, and they have a plan to stop it dead in its tracks.
I don't think it's a laughing matter either. I know I'm laughing and giggling and I'm joking along. I take preparation for this quite seriously. I've thought about it a lot. Like, what weapon would I choose? I've had to weigh up, I'm sure in an ideal world, everyone thinks that they could just pop down the road or into the local city centre and pick up a crossbow or a gun. In the UK, that ain't going to happen. I wouldn't even know where you got one from. So, we've got to be a bit more creative with our weapon of choice. Crowbar. Every horror game, you start off with a steel pipe or a crowbar. Fail safe. They work every time. You need a blunt instrument. Baseball bat, yes, but if it's a wooden one, and we're not over enthusiastic, I think, in the UK about baseball, so not every household has one. If you had an aluminium baseball bat, great. Not a lot of houses have them. So I'm thinking crowbar, most of us have got a crowbar. Such a weird conversation.
Pun fully intended. Contingency Plan 8888. The United States military regularly creates think tanks whose jobs are to envision future conflict or disaster scenarios, and then draw up military and civil responses to address these threats. Throughout the years, American war planners have created plans for everything, from nuclear war with the Soviet Union to an enemy invasion of the U.S. mainland to responding to a massive asteroid or comet strike on planet Earth. Incredibly, the U.S. military also has several contingency plans to combat an alien invasion, and that's no joke. These plans are highly secretive, as are the other contingency plans, and present military options to combat a variety of different alien invasion scenarios, at least to the best as our limited technology allows.
Can you imagine watching one of those kind of simulations? How would you be able to train for that in the military and make it convincing? Like stage an alien invasion, but in the process accidentally convince, a major city that this is actually happening. Like War of the Worlds.
Yeah, one of these contingency plans is unclassified and has been public knowledge for years. That's Contingency Plan 8888. Originally, Conplan 8888 was developed as a teaching tool for American military planners. It was meant to be a fun exercise that introduced new war planners to the complexities of developing realistic response plans to a variety of contingencies. Because of the threat of war plans being made public, the instructors behind the original Conplan 8888 exercises wanted to use a completely fictional scenario, rather than using realistic scenarios with real nations that could be misconstrued in the public eye as an actual war plan. Because the US military actually has realistic contingency plans to counter an alien invasion, it was decided that zombies presented the best option for developing a practice war plan to allow students to learn the ins and outs of military planning.
Hang on, are we saying that yes, this is a contingency plan, but it's only used because it's the only fictional hypothetical scenario that couldn't be misconstrued by anyone getting hold of this information in the general public and assuming that this has actually happened? Well, I'm slightly disappointed now.
However, just because Conplan 8888 was developed as a teaching exercise and not taken very seriously does not mean that it's a credible and fully functional plan. If zombies ever did kick off an apocalypse, Conplan 8888 would be there to save the US from extinction. So what does Conplan 8888 involve? First, the plan addresses the threats from a variety of different types of zombies.
Yes, thank you. Again, I babble a lot, but this is put a lot more articulately than I was trying to say. Are we going old school zombies that are literally, like risen from the dead? They've got limbs falling off all over the place. I mean, they're not much of a threat at this point. Are they magically driven? Have they been awakened with a curse? I find them far less scary. I like the idea of the viral zombies because they're terrifying. The aggressive viral zombies.
First is the PZ, or pathogenic zombies. These are zombies who are created after a host is infected by a virus, bacteria, or other form of contagion. Next are RZs, or radiation zombies.
Radiation zombies. Ooh, that's a good idea. The pathogenic zombies. Again, these are the scary ones because, shortly after passing away, or maybe they're not dead, maybe they are actually still animated, just super aggressively. Either way, they've still got all of their muscle mass. They've still got, they've still got their fresh living bodies. They're an actual threat. Maybe
these are zombies created by extreme exposure to electromagnetic and or particle radiation. EMZs are evil magic zombies, or zombies created by an evil occult force. SZs, or space zombies, are zombie life forms that originate from outer space, or created by the toxic contamination of the Earth's environment by an extraterrestrial source. WZs, or weaponized zombies, are zombies that have been developed in a lab somewhere to be used as military weapon.
Oh, like somewhere between, like Resident Evil zombies, that's somewhere in between like an infection, a viral infection, but they're also weaponized. So they've been like experimented on and perfected into becoming like the ultimate bioweapon.
Perhaps deployed by a foreign adversary. SIZs are symbiont-induced zombies, or zombies who are created by the introduction of a symbiont life form into a healthy host. The symbiont keeps the host alive, but acting as its personal puppet. VZs, or vegetarian zombies, are zombies who do not feed on flesh, human or otherwise, but rather who feed on plant life, such as zombies from the Plants vs. Zombies series of video games. These zombies pose just as great a threat.
About that type of zombie. That's amazing. I love that game. Fair enough. If they don't go around eating other people, what if they still eat animals? So they still technically vegetarian zombies. We're gonna have to come up with a term for non-human eating zombies. What's the term, guys? Come on, give me your best one.
To humanity due to their appetite for vegetation, which can cause massive deforestation and the destruction of food crops. Lastly, the plan addressed the threat posed by CZs, or chicken zombies, which are the only type of zombie that actually exist. These zombies are produced when chickens are improperly euthanized with carbon monoxide and left in a pile of bodies, only for the still living chicken to crawl its way out of the pile and walk around until organ failure kills it. Next, the plan moves on to discuss the effect of environment on both zombies and surviving human population. It notes that pathogenic zombies will be vulnerable to ultraviolet light thanks to the UV light's ability to impair the function of RNA, which comprises most viral life forms. Thanks to this sensitivity, pathogenic zombies are not expected to be active during noon or in bright sunny conditions.
This is assuming that it's like a virus that we're aware of, or is this just all viral RNA behavior? Do you think maybe there's going to be a new strain of some? Maybe it's not viral. Maybe it's like The Last of Us. Maybe it's fungal in its nature. In which case, that wouldn't apply, would it?
And will likely be active at night. Evil magic zombies, space zombies, vegetarian zombies, and weaponized zombies are believed to be immune to any extreme meteorological phenomenon except for fires, floods, tornadoes, or tsunamis. For human survivors, the plan stresses the need for rainwater conservation, seeing as most public services will no longer be working.
How did I forget to mention this? Obviously, the first thing that you need to do, guys, in the event of a zombie apocalypse is you need to oh gosh, if this was to happen, like right now, what would I say? Bento would be absolutely useless. He makes so much noise. Would be goners. Um, you need to stay quiet, wait for the immediate aftermath to go. You know, the zombies walking down your road. Wait for them to do their thrill a bit and just go away. Go somewhere else. And then you need to make your way to the countryside. You need to think of your water supply. It's the most important thing. That's why you need to get to fresh water or stock up. So before all your water supply in the house starts not being effective or clean, bottle it. Carry as much as you can, because dehydration, I imagine, is probably going to kill you next to the zombie bite. It's probably going to be the second biggest killer, isn't it? Or dirty water, dysentery. So, yep, water's important.
So groundwater or stream and river water is not recommended for drinking, as it will be unknown if it will be a vector for zombie infection. Humans who don't shelter in place in locations that protect from direct effect of air currents also run the risk of zombie infection if pathogen or
airborne.
zombification source is airborne. From here,
Oh, but we're not assuming it's airborne, because that's too doomsday scenario. We're assuming it's a blood contaminant. Yeah, it's transferred via blood or saliva. Let's go with that, because, you know, maybe it's slightly more livable. If it's airborne, we're all screwed.
the plan
want
moves on to 5 phases of a response to a zombie outbreak.
Okay.
Upon news of the dead rising from their graves or evil wizards creating zombie hordes, the U.S. military will initiate phase 0 of
That's not, I mean, that now we're just talking silly. Everyone knows, you know, wizard, zombies, spells and curses, you know, reanimating dead bodies and bringing them back from the dead. That's just silly. It's not going to happen. Now, viral outbreaks, on the other hand.
Conplan 8888. The phase is also called Shape the Environment and will focus on giving U.S. warfighters as great warning time and strategic advantage against the zombie hordes as possible. Military and civil agencies will monitor disease vectors for possible zombification, identifying any ways that infection can spread, and taking precautionary measures. With constant monitoring, the U.S. military will be ready once the outbreak reaches critical levels or is unleashed in full inside North America.
See, this is early days. This is what I'm talking about. Once there's like the slight indication of a viral outbreak, you know, you're going to get labs, you're going to get research, you're going to get science all over it. It's going to want to find out the behavior of this virus, how it's transferred, what its weaknesses are, what it's vulnerable to, how can it be contained, how can it be destroyed, is there a cure? I think this is going to be quite early days, and that's where the rumors are going to start, you know, appearing. People like whispering. It happened with COVID, didn't it? People were talking and whispering and saying rumors were going around about COVID before it actually became such a huge problem globally.
Military forces will engage in renewed hazmat training as well as nuclear, biological, and chemical warfare training, already a routine part of U.S. military training. Phase 1, deterrence, will begin upon receipt of a warn order or a warning order by U.S. Strategic Command. In a normal war plan, this phase of planning involves displays of military power so that foreign adversaries are deterred from hostile action. Because zombies cannot be reasoned with or intimidated, however, other forces which could further spread a zombie plague or aid in a zombie apocalypse, such as terrorist groups, adversary nations, and unethical bioresearch companies, are targeted instead. Phase 1 will see the U.S. military initiate large-scale training meant to show any would-be human collaborators that the U.S. military can still operate within a toxic and contaminated environment, hopefully deterring evil bioresearch companies or terrorists from aiding the zombie apocalypse.
Oh my gosh, I never even thought about that. So let's say zombie outbreak happens. We're still in the early days at this point, hypothetically. Politically speaking, you don't want other nations knowing that your infrastructure and, you know, and everything has been weakened by a viral outbreak. Like, what would you do? What would the powers that be do?
Phase 2, Seize the Initiative, will begin upon receipt of an alert order by U.S. Strategic Command. This will immediately initiate a complete recall of all military and reserve personnel, and the immediate implementation of all continuity of operations plans, or co-op plans as they're known, are meant to ensure that no matter what happens, all of the major military commands are able to continue functioning as well as the civilian government. The plan will deploy all ground, naval, and airborne command and control nodes, with preparations to remain deployed for at minimum 35 days. This will ensure that the U.S. military remains in control of its forces no matter what happens next. U.S. Strategic Command will reach out to potential adversary nations, such as Russia and China, and inform them of preparation for counter-zombie operations, conducting confidence-building measures to ensure these nations don't believe the mobilization is using the zombie threat as a cover for military action against their own countries. The U.S. Air Force's Global Strike Command, in conjunction with assets from other services, will immediately generate forces for strike missions against zombie horde concentrations, not just here in the U.S., but abroad. The rest of the U.S. military will immediately begin fortifying civilian defense zones and enforcing quarantines where applicable. Phase 3, Dominance, will initiate a massive American military response against the zombie threat. Combat operations must be swift and completely eradicate zombie concentrations, as even a lone survivor can reignite a zombie outbreak.
But isn't this assuming that there's no cure available? Or, I I don't know the answer to this actually. I was just about to say, I'm sure the military wouldn't want to open fire on infected. I bet zombies have become like a politically incorrect term. Like you'd have to call them, just let's call them the infected. That's assuming they're infection, viral zombies, whichever. The infected. Is that assuming that there's no chance of a cure? It's assuming that they're dead or reanimated. What if they are viral zombies and there might be a cure out there? Would they still open fire on the infected? And would they open fire on them if they were, that crawling brains zombies, or if they were the super sprinters, the fast ones, the aggressive zombies? I suppose you'd have to if that was the case.
Cities and other major population centers may need to be indefinitely blockaded by military forces while the civilians are relocated to more remote areas. Phase 4, Stabilization.
I wouldn't want to be relocated to highly populated areas. So that might mean me avoiding the military at all costs where possible. Because, people become just as much of a threat. When society collapses, I don't want to be anywhere around people.
Begin no earlier than at least 40 days after
rules.
the initiation of Phase 3 operations. U.S. military forces will begin initiating local reconnaissance operations in order to determine the strength of surviving zombie forces. They'll also locate isolated pockets of survivors and shepherd them to secure areas, as well as survey the status of basic civil services such as power, water, sewage, and lines of communication.
Would they make you? Would they forcibly make you go to relocate? Would they make you, if they found you and you're hiding out in a abandoned farm in the middle of nowhere, but you're quite comfortable and you're saying, no, military personnel, I am happy here. I have a clean water source. I'm excellent at fishing and hunting. I'm very self-sufficient. Go away. Would they not care and take you to one of these, like a colony? Would they take you forcibly? Well, they didn't say there, did they?
Forces will also conduct surveys of the epidemiological security of the local environment, ascertaining if a lingering zombie infection threat is still remaining. Phase 5, Normalization, will see U.S. military forces aid in the reestablishment of civil authority. Commercial and civilian infrastructure will be repaired as best as possible.
See, guys, the normalization, you can't repopulate and normalize if you don't have as many people as possible. So that's why I'm asking, if the military round up any survivors, in the middle of nowhere? Are they forcibly going to take them to a colony because they need as many people to repopulate as possible, and to help with the infrastructure of these colonies and to contribute, use your skills? Are you a builder? Are you a medic? You might be valuable, very valuable within this new kind of colony. So would they take you against your will, is my weird question there.
And the restoration of functioning civil services will be a top priority. Conplan 8888 aims to prepare the U.S. military to stop a zombie apocalypse dead in its tracks, and highlights the specific actions that local forces need to take in order to ensure their survival and the continued ability to fight back against the zombie hordes. The plan does highlight some current strategic limitations, however, such as a lack of dedicated counter-zombie military task force. There's also the difficulty in ensuring a zombie is truly neutralized, though the plan does recommend that military forces burn all the bodies thoroughly. Other strategic limitations include the inability to maintain airborne command posts in the air past a week. This is because while in-flight refueling could keep airborne command posts operational for a month, or perhaps even more if needed, the airfields that support the tankers, which would fuel these aircraft, would likely be overrun by zombies very quickly. There are also serious defensive deficiencies for many of the nation's ground-based command and control nodes, as few command and control nodes within the United States are hardened facilities capable of withstanding a relentless horde of zombies. Conplan 8888 recommends that facilities maintain a stockpile of lumber and train their personnel how to weld, so they can better secure their facilities against outside intrusion. Lastly, the plan warns that there is little useful scientific data to be used by the US military to counter a zombie threat, and war planners may need to turn to popular media for inspiration on destroying the Walking Dead.
That's what I did. Because it's such a hypothetical fantasy, sci-fi kind of, scenario. There's very little examples that you can use to come up with a contingency plan here. You're relying an awful lot on speculation, sci-fi, TV shows and films. You are reliant on it, which is crazy because all of it's just completely made up. But what else can you go off? There's so many unknown variables that could pop up here.
There's also a dire warning within Conplan 8888 that of all the different types of zombies that the US military may have to face, evil magic zombies may prove to be the most difficult to defeat, as they're animated by evil magic. The plan suggests the recruitment of the Chaplain Corps to combat this threat. Do you think any plan could really stop a zombie apocalypse? What type of zombie would you be most afraid of? Let us know in the comments, and as always, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more great content before the zombies eat all our brains.
All our brains! Oh, there's so many. There's plot holes here, isn't there? There's too many variables to come up with a reliable strategy, because it varies so much what type of zombie we're dealing with. I think the most likely is the viral zombies. The reanimated magical zombies just aren't going to happen. And don't say neither of the viral zombies. You never know. They could. We could have something similar one day, maybe. Yeah, too many variables. But I always base my hypothetical scenarios and things like this. I always base it on the super aggressive, infected zombies, viral, because they're the scariest by far. And they are definitely the type of zombie that would, well, we've seen, haven't it? We've seen how COVID spread globally and how quickly that happened. Now imagine if that was a zombie virus. That would be everyone's problem very, very quickly. That's the most terrifying one by far. So that's the one that I use when I try and come up with my personal Boomies contingency plan. You need a weapon, but that does assume that they are threatening your life and that there would be no cure. It does, and it relies on the zombies being aggressive as well, because if they're just kind of wandering around the streets, shuffle, doing the Thriller kind of shuffle, brains, are they hurting anyone? Realistically, they are far too slow to be that much of a problem. So it's the viral ones that I think we should all be basing our zombie stories on. Is there anything else I haven't thought about? I don't know. It's so interesting. It's a fun topic to talk about, I think. It's a great icebreaker. It's excellent pub conversation. What do you think, guys? What are there any glaring mistakes in my boomy contingency plan? I have accepted that I'm not very good at defending myself, and I'm useless with hunting, fishing. But I do shine in other areas, guys. I'm useful. I will be useful in the zombie apocalypse. But yeah, kitchen knife would probably be my best bet for a weapon, or a crowbar. And you need a fresh water source. That's very, very important. Dried food, and just stay away from people. Stay away. Never ends well. Might start off being like, oh, look, there's other survivors. Let's group together so we can help each other. I might stay that way for like 2 weeks. But I am very cynical. Let me know what you think, guys. Oh, it's so interesting. It's such a fun thing to talk about. So, Seaofwhiskey, thank you very much for requesting this video. Super interesting. I know it might be a training exercise and it might be hypothetical, but it's good to know that the powers that be are at least maybe considering zombie outbreak. Oh my gosh. Take care of yourselves, my lovelies, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.